Some of y'all may feel called out watching this video. Some of y'all may feel as if this video is relatable. And some of y'all may feel like, yeah, I definitely needed to hear this today. Hey y'all, it's Future Me. I just want to let y'all know the beginning of this video is crystal clear. After a while, it gets blurry. And I'm thinking that I had to focus perfect the entire video, but somehow, some way, it got out of focus. I don't have like a way to like monitor like how I see myself and if the focus is there or whatever, because the camera that I have doesn't have the little flip screen to where you can see yourself. So I'm going off of vibes and checking every once in a while to see if it's in focus. But I had to record this entire video 10 plus times. And I record majority of my videos at night because I work throughout the day. And I didn't want to stay up till 2 a.m. to re-record the video. And I didn't even know that half of it was blurry until I got into the editing bay. So I'm just letting y'all know right now. I suggest listening to it like it's a podcast if the blurriness bothers you. But I'm not fixing it. I'm just letting y'all know. I hope you enjoy the video anyway. So I've been doing a lot of self-reflection these past couple of months, and the more that I will reflect on my past mistakes and my past actions, the more I would cringe. And I've come to realize, like, yeah, I've definitely been the person that has gossiped about other people. I've definitely been the person to be way too brutally honest. I've definitely been the person to put myself in situations that I didn't belong in. I've definitely been in friendships and relationships way too long, knowing that I wanted to leave them. I've definitely forgiven people way too soon without thinking about it. I've definitely let people back into my life when they needed to stay far, 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 like far, 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 far in the past. I've hurt people's feelings because I was hurting. I've let my jealousy show in the most inopportune times. I've blown up on people that I care about due to anger. I've vented to the wrong people. I've overshared way too much. I've been emotionally unaware. I've definitely been the emotionally draining friend. I've definitely lied, and I've definitely played the victim. And on the flip side of that, not saying like all those things were definitely toxic for sure, most definitely, like straight up toxic. But on the flip side of those mistakes and growing from those mistakes and learning from those mistakes, I've shown compassion, I've shown love, I've cheered other people on, I've encouraged people, I've been honest, I've been truthful, I've been patient, I've stood my ground, I've stood up for my friends, I've checked my emotions and my thoughts before speaking, I've listened without judgment. I've left environments, friendships, relationships, what have you, due to the fact that they didn't align with me anymore. And I've apologized for my mistakes and own up to them. And with all of that, good, bad, ugly, whatever you want to call it, toxic, I've had to literally sit with it and look at it square in the face and call it out for what it really was. It was due to me being insecure and feeling as if I wasn't being heard, wasn't being taken seriously, felt as if I was being disrespected, whatever. The things that I was doing in the past, mistakes that I've made in the past were just not okay. And at the end of the day, I was my worst enemy, and it led me to not be kind to myself, which in turn made me not be kind to others. And I know for a fact there's people that I don't even talk to anymore that probably hold my past mistakes against me, probably hold a grudge against me, or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But all I know is if you do, I get it, because I would too. I've been the person that definitely held grudges towards people because of their past mistakes, and I'm just like, I don't want to ever talk to them again. And have I forgiven those people? Yep. Do I talk to them? No. You can forgive people and still not want to talk to them. And I'm not going to lie and say that I don't hold a grudge, because I do be holding grudges. I do, but I am working on it, because holding grudges definitely don't serve you at all. It definitely don't serve me at all. So working on detaching from that grudge and like letting it go is very important, because at the end of the day, what you're doing by holding that grudge is playing that scenario in your head over and over and over. I needed to accept my mistakes for what they were, and I needed to accept my past actions for what they were in order to grow and move forward and do better. We've all been toxic, we've all crashed out, we've all done some not so nice things, some things that we regret, and that's okay because we're not supposed to be perfect. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, how in the world do we move forward from the past and not let our past dictate what we're doing right now in the present moment? Without the self reflection and without the mistakes that I made in the past, I wouldn't have known what I needed to do in order to show up better for myself and to show up better for others. Mistakes are where you learn, but learning isn't automatic. You have to choose to want to grow from those mistakes. You have to choose to want to grow or choose to stay the same. Which one? Because either one is quite painful. It's painful to grow and take your, like, be accountable for the mistakes that you made and like feel those feelings and be like, dang, I really did mess up. Dang, yeah, that was wrong. Dang, yeah, man, yeah, that was messed up. Or you can take in the pain of staying the same and keep stomping on people and being mean to yourself and etc etc etc. The thing is, nobody can make that choice for you. You have to take the leap and make it yourself. In order to accept your mistakes, you need self forgiveness, and that doesn't mean excusing yourself from the mistakes that you did or pretending that the past just didn't happen. It means acknowledging what you did, understanding why you did it, and deciding to make the choice to break the cycle and not repeat those past mistakes again. And at the end of the day, mistakes don't define you. How you move forward defines you. And you can't worry about, like, oh, does this person remember what I did 10 years ago? They probably don't. Oh, does this person, what did Kendrick say? What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. And you move forward. Forgiveness is an active process. It's not something that's like, oh, a nice thought, la da da, dee dee dee, and you keep making those same mistakes. If you really bout it, and you really bout like forgiving yourself, you have to put in the work. So, how do we go about moving forward from our past mistakes? I have examples and I will be looking at my notes, okay? I will be looking at my notes. So the first step of moving forward is to take accountability. That means no excuses, no blaming other people for how you treated others, none of that. It's taking full accountability and looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, hey, yo, I messed up. And you also have to be like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm taking accountability, but why did I do the things that I did? And you have to really like self-reflect and do some really deep introspection. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel really, really crappy. Here's what not owning up to your mistakes looks like, whether you were the problem or the other person was the problem. It looks like deflecting. It looks like ghosting. It looks like avoidance. It looks like avoiding hard conversations. It looks like playing the victim. It also can look like trying to get other people on your side and not telling the full story so that other people can be on your side. And the reason I know this is because I have definitely deflected, I've definitely played the victim, I've definitely ghosted, I've definitely avoided hard conversations, I've definitely been avoidant, definitely have done those things. And I've learned those things because those actions have consequences. They have consequences. And I've learned from those consequences, took those L's, learned those lessons, and will not be doing that again. Because again, when you're moving from an insecure place, you do really crappy, insecure things. When you're insecure, is it okay to move like that? No, it's not okay. But when you're fighting for your life and you're fighting your own demons and you're fighting your own insecurities and you're drowning in them, it's it's a nasty sight. And other people you just start launching your insecurities at other people, whether you're aware of it or not. That's what I mean by emotionally unaware. Been there, done that, no more. We self-reflect over here. And that leads us into our next step, which is make things right if possible. Not every situation needs closure, but if you know that you hurt somebody and a genuine apology is necessary, is needed, is helpful, don't hesitate to reach out. Apologizing does not mean that you will be forgiven right away. For example, this happened months ago. But I had a friend, I hurt their feelings, and they told me, like, hey man, I need space. I need time to reflect. Once I'm ready, I'll contact you and we can talk in person about this. As of now, I need space. And all I said was, okay, take all the time you need. I didn't send a long behind message about, oh, why don't you? Nah, that's not needed. If they say they need space, they need space. Now, did that conversation ever happen? No. Will it? I have no idea. But all I can do is continue to move forward and do my own self reflection and forgive myself and not make that same mistake again. Step number 3 is change your patterns. Not all about, oh, saying I've changed. It's all about showing up as that changed person. What have you learned from that mistake? What have you learned from that person holding you accountable so that you can hold yourself accountable? If you were the friend that disregarded what people were saying and never listened to them, how can you step up and start being an active listener? And if you were quick to anger, how can you work on your emotional regulation so that you are entering situations in a calm, collected manner? And if you've gossiped, or if you know somebody that has gossiped and you participated in gossiping, how can you set a boundary to be like, hey, yo, this is not what I want to talk about. Let's talk about something else. And if you continue to bring this situation up, I'm leaving. I'm walking out. And a mistake repeated is a choice that you're continuously making. Like, yes, we all make mistakes. Yes, we may repeat the same mistakes over and over and over, but at the end of the day, you have to choose to do better. Growth is your responsibility and nobody else's. Step 4 is to forgive yourself. And I mean, really, really forgive yourself. Not just this hypothetical theory like, oh, yay, I forgive yourself, like, forgive myself, excuse me. You really have to embody the action of forgiveness. So, forgiveness is giving yourself permission to grow without playing your past mistakes over and over in your head. Literally, if you need to say, I'm giving myself permission to move on from this situation, I'm giving myself permission to forgive myself from this past mistake. If you need to say that out loud, say it out loud. If you need to say it every day, every couple hours, do that and make sure that your actions are aligning with what you're saying. So, here are some ways that I have forgiven myself from the past mistakes that I've made. I, of course, acknowledge it. And then after I acknowledge it, I feel my feelings, like feel it all. Like I sit in it and I cry it out as I'm journaling. Like, I made this mistake. They don't want to talk to me anymore. Like, I really messed up. Just cry it out. Just feel all the just nasty feelings you feeling. Just cry it out. Let it out. And then once I let it out, once I wipe away my tears, then I dissect it. And I'm like, okay, so this is the reason why I did that thing. Because whether that's something they said triggered me and it wasn't their fault that they triggered me, like it's all on me that I was triggered and I didn't control that trigger and I acted out because of that trigger or whatever it may be. And then once I dig deep and figure that part out, then I look at the mistake as if it is not a part of my identity, as if it's something completely outside of myself, and I'm looking at it and it's looking at me, and I'm just like, got you. So I'm not a bad person. I just messed up. And so then I look at that mistake and hold it with compassion and with love. I'm like, okay, cool. It's okay. You made a mistake. I still love you. And I say that over and over. It's okay. You made a mistake. I still love you. It's okay. You made a mistake. I still love you. Because at the end of the day, that's who I need to hear it from. That's who I need to hear it from. Me, myself, and I. I need to continuously say I need to continuously say I love myself despite the mistakes that I have made. You know what I mean? And then once I say that, once I give myself compassion and love and like gentleness, I'm able to breathe. And then move forward and release it and let it go, despite if the person gives me a second chance or not, despite like whatever that person may think of me because of the mistake that I made. At the end of the day, what I think about me, myself, and I is what matters. Me forgiving myself is what matters. You don't necessarily need that external like forgiveness or validation or whatever that you're trying to seek. Like, again, just because you ask for forgiveness or apologize doesn't mean that you're going to be given a second chance, and you have to understand that and be okay with that. So that's just an example of how I have worked through forgiving myself. And it's all our first time on Earth, unless you like reincarnated and you actually like remember like Earth for real. But it is all our first times on Earth, so we're bound to make mistakes. We're bound to learn lessons. Learning lessons and learning from those lessons is how we grow. And step 5, stop defining yourself from your worst moments or your worst mistakes. You have to understand that you're not your mistakes. Yes, you've messed up. Yes, you're probably the villain in somebody's story. We're probably the villain in, let's face it, we're going to be the villain in somebody's story. We just are. And there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do to change that other person's perception of us. All we can do is worry about me, myself, and I. You, yourself, and yours. You know what I mean? And making mistakes isn't the sum total of who you are. It's just not. Even though people want to make that the spotlight of who you are. Another example of this is when I acted out of jealousy and people noticed, so they probably still have that past mistake that I did as a perception of me. And even though, I talked it out with the people involved, we've forgiven each other and things of that nature. We talked about like, hey, this is what you did wrong. Don't do that again. And we understand like why you did what you did, but still like that's not okay. And I soaked in the information that was given to me, really looked inward and understood like, okay, cool, I can't be acting like that. And I changed my behavior and I don't act like that anymore. However, those people that witnessed that mistake in that moment probably still feel as if, oh, she's still like a jealous person and there's nothing that I can do. Even though, yes, that mistake happened a while ago, people are still going to have a perception of me that I cannot control, even when I have actively changed that behavior. Growth means allowing yourself to be seen more than just your past, even when people refuse to see that new version of you or to see that you are actively and actually wanting to change. And the last and final step is be intentional with who you are becoming. So, oftentimes, when we try to change, we're trying to do it just to prove to others that we can, to prove others wrong. And that isn't really the correct way to go about it. It's not really a healthy way to go about it. So, using external validation or external motivation or anger or like hatred in some way, shape, or form to make you be better or to change or to do better, it's not really long lasting. Basically, what you're doing is trying to change out of spite, and you really just want to change because you want to change and you want to see yourself grow. So, here's a few examples of what I am actively doing to become intentional about who I want to be. Essentially, we rewiring my brain. So I take all my past mistakes and I do the opposite of them. Like, for example, if you want to stop gossiping, be like, all right, cool, we're not gonna gossip. We're just gonna focus on what we got going on because nobody else's life is as interesting as mine. So I'm just gonna focus on my life. That's literally all I'm gonna focus on. I'm gonna keep that promise. Another example is speaking kindly to myself. Instead of acting out of insecurity, I'm going to act out of kindness towards myself. And being able to act out of kindness towards myself allows me to act kindly towards others. Another example would be shoot, I didn't say this in a video, but like, cleaning my space, making sure I have a tidy space, making sure that I am taking care of my physical being, like going to the gym and drinking water and things of that nature, because those small things add up. And once those small things add up, you'll start feeling better about yourself. And the more you start feeling better about yourself, the more you're able to exude excellent energy. And the more that you are intentional about who you want to become, like this new version that you want to become, that embodies love, kindness, compassion towards yourself so that it could exude out into the external, then you'll be able to live that life without it being a second thought. Like, it's going to be a little hard in the beginning, but the more you do it, the easier it'll become and the more it'll become your reality. So the point is to show up with integrity and align your actions with your values. And if you're not sure what your values are, sit with yourself and ask, like, what is something that I really value? Is it friendship? Okay, so what does friendship look like to me? Does friendship look like honesty? Does friendship look like showing up? What does my relationships look like? What does my work-life balance look like? Like, ask yourself, what are your core values in order to get into the nitty-gritty and to show up as your most authentic self and to be able to accept and move forward with the changes that you're making. And you want to be someone that you can respect when you look into the mirror, because when you look at yourself and you're like, I'm really insecure about this, that, the third, da da da, and you're really insecure about your internal, the insecurities that you're feeling internally are going to seep out externally, and it's going to be shown whether you know about it or you don't know about it. So being able to show up and be intentional with who you are now and making sure that you're actively working towards the change that you say you want to work towards is very, very important. At the end of the day, you don't have to be perfect, because you're not. Messing up is all a part of the human experience. What really matters is what you do next and how you can grow from the mistakes that you've made in the past. And if you keep choosing growth, then your past won't feel so heavy anymore. You're regulating your emotions more. You're showing up in a very kind way towards yourself and towards others, and, et cetera, et cetera. And when you're not boggled down by your past so much, you're able to look back and be like, dang, I've definitely come a far way. I've definitely come a long way, for real. So I want you to take a moment and reflect. What is one mistake that you've learned from, and how have you grown from it? Go ahead and share it in the comments. And if you don't feel like sharing it in the comments, that is okay. Just go ahead and sit with it. Sit with the emotion, talk with yourself, do a little voice memo. Voice memos have definitely helped me when I needed to rant to a friend and they weren't available, or if I just need to let something out right then and there. I just hit that voice memo and be like, "Hey, girl, guess what happened today?" Da 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 da. Instead of ranting to the next person that I see down the street, which I would never do that. I've never done that, but I'm just saying that's just an example. Or like ranting to my friend when they don't have, the capacity. Use your voice memos or journal. And we have to understand that growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just us choosing to be better day by day, one step at a time, because it's a learning process at the end of the day. You're not going to get it right then and there, you know? Introspection, self reflection, that stuff takes work. That stuff takes real, real deep work. And you really have to look at yourself and be like, dang, man, something's got to give. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I hope it's, helped somebody out there. And I hope that this video was relatable to you, and it, made you feel less alone in the mistakes that you've made. And just know that you're gonna continue to make mistakes, and you're going to continue to learn, because that's a part of life, and we're all going to learn and grow from the things that we've done. And also to remember, don't let anyone hold your past against you. growing, you're changing, and that's all that matters. You've got you, yourself, and yours. I've got me, myself, and mine. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Forward. But I just felt like, to put that example in there, well, in here, so you know that I'm not a perfect human being. I've messed up. I've been toxic. I've been, you know, so, and I'm not ashamed to admit that on the internet. So, hey, come for me if you want to. It's already it's already posted. What can you say? What can you say once this is posted? What can you say? Anyway,